Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Wowhead Weekly. And as ever, I am joined by my co-host and Wowhead site director, Peculiar. How are you doing today, Perk?
Another Friday build to cover. So.
Hours of entertainment with builds and all sorts of exciting things going on in the beta. So we've got a bunch of cool things to talk about this week, actually. If you follow either of us on Twitter or if you follow Wowhead on Twitter, you'll have seen that there was a really, really cool set of models that we just put up on the site today, which is Friday. Obviously, we record this on a Friday. It doesn't go up till a Saturday morning. But we put up these really, really cool models of this druid talent, and I'm glad to get my notes to read it because I keep saying it wrong. So it's called Claws of Sheer Valor.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's how you'd say it.
To make it sound cooler.
Yeah, exactly. So these only came out today, but the build was last night. Is that right, Perk?
Yeah, the build came out pretty late last night. I think it was right before the big power outage in Irvine.
Yes.
And they changed one of the new Feral Druid level 100 talents to be Claws of Shirvala, and it provides an alternate-looking cat form. And there was a lot of user requests. People wanted to know what it looked like, because, you know, obviously models are important to people.
Yeah.
And because so many people were asking about it, we decided to see if we could sort of stitch it together from existing models and change what we had to provide this to users.
So what exactly is the process behind it? Like, I must admit, I don't fully understand it myself. Like, we had the models last night, we had a ton of mounts, because I'm in Irvine, so I got hit by the power cut too, and I got my power back on, had a look at Wowhead, first thing I did, obviously, and there's been a ton of new mounts and all sorts of other stuff. So why did this one take a little bit longer? What was the extra work there?
So the actual models that we used were fully armored Saberon cats, and we had to sort of separate all the components and post the sort of naked model of them, and then also decide that the default pose you'd find them in would sort of be this stealth look on all fours as opposed to sort of being the normal upright posture. So we had to do a lot of manual tweaking to present these customized models to users, and then have them match up with what Blizzard was tweeting about, how each race would have a certain, color and background. So we found 4 of the clothed NPCs, and then we did some modifications to them.
Wow, so you're actually, that sounds like a ton of work. So you're actually taking the models from the game, which you know that they're these matching models. They're not, you didn't just pick that out of the air. You know which models they are. So you've taken all of the clothing, all of the armor off them, and then gone through and actually found the correct skins for each different race. That is
something to that effect. The model viewer dev uses all the technical terms, and I just formatted it up and posted it.
That is a ton of work. There's a ton of work. So do definitely go check those out. Wowhead.com, and you can have a look at that. And there's amazing looking models there. I actually also put together a video, which if we're watching this on YouTube, would have been the second most recent upload. So you can have a look at that there too. So all that aside, what do you actually think of them? What's your take on these cat forms? Do you like them? What's your thought?
I mean, I really like the Worgen one, the white one that's spotted with black. Yes. Reminds me. It's such a beautiful model, and I think they look pretty nice. Although I am curious, they look very muscular. If they'll be a more feminine form, the lady druids.
That's definitely come up a lot. Like I shared a bunch of them on Twitter because I was so excited. They're so cool looking. So I was like, I can come back and have a look at them in 3D, and then I made the video. And the whole time I was watching them, thinking they're very, very muscular. They're very, very heavy and big, and like they definitely look masculine to me. But then like I was thinking, oh well, like cats themselves don't really have discernible gender. Like none of the other druid forms have discernible gender either. Just like the Moonkin is obviously just a owl beast. Like you can't tell.
Get updated actually, because the Moonkin looks very sort of low resolution.
Yeah.
Forms that got updates in Mists of Pandaria, and now this.
Yeah, that's definitely true actually. I wonder if we'll see that with the character models, because it sort of would feel really out of place with the, the very, very pretty, like the base character models, which are so good looking, and then like you say, the updated forms. I wonder if they'll do that. But it's definitely sort of gender neutral, and maybe this is just sort of leaning a little bit too more towards the manly side for some people, because I've definitely had notes about that on Twitter.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't think it's a huge complaint. The models are still really awesome. They're just very sort of masculine. And like my druid, the only druid I have is level 70, like it's a twink for PvP, and she's a Worgen. And so looking at the run, I was like, this is very similar to the Worgen Darkflight. So I was kind of thinking, like, this is very much like the sort of reskinned Worgen model. Is it weird that it's a Worgen that's then changing form and like going from a dog to a cat? Like
It's kind of funny.
it's kind of weird. A lady dog to a man cat, like part of a shapeshift. But it's a really, really cool looking model. My favorite is definitely the Worgen one as well, the white with the spots. So what do we think about the actual talent itself? Like, we're all so excited about the cat form. Do we think people are going to use it? How does it compare to the others?
I mean, I think people will use it just because they love appearances. So you might have people using it that it might not be the best talent for the situation, but you might find them using it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's definitely. That is, sorry, cameras failed to change there for a second. Excuse me for that. Definitely, like, it's sort of, I would use it just for the cat form. I think it's so awesome, and it's definitely got some good elements. Like, you've got all of the non-damaging druid spells while in this form.
That seems really good for utility.
Seems really good for utility, and like someone who sort of does a lot of PvP, that sounds very strong. So you've got a ton of CC. You've got all of the heals that are available across different forms. And I know they've put back, for example, they've recently re-added Entangling Roots to all the druid forms, so you can actually now cast that from every form. Yeah, it's for everyone again now, whereas previously it wasn't. So it kind of makes me think that there's something going on that might be quite strong for PvP. And I think it also just looks really awesome. Which will definitely make people use it. And the versatility, like, I don't know if we've really seen that stat at full force yet to be able to accurately, like, talk about how strong 5% versatility is. I don't know if we know that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've been adding versatility and multi-strike to more abilities and talents as the beta has progressed, but it's been very piecemeal. And, you know, a lot of people aren't level 100 yet or even doing a lot of raid testing, so we can't really see at this point.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, that's one thing to note. The build, we've obviously had the build up very, very recently, like last night, but the servers only went live at 2:30 p.m. today, Pacific time. It's now 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. So while obviously we've got a new build up, Perk and I haven't had a ton of time to test anything. I've managed to get almost all the way through to NAV, which we'll talk about later, but bear that in mind. Like, the servers have only just come up, and we'll have a ton more to tell you about all the new stuff in the next week's show. But for now, we're mostly just going to cover a bunch of the data mining from there. So speaking of that, a couple of other things in the data mining new abilities. We've got Aspect of the Fox, which is a hunter utility ability, which seems really cool. And interestingly to me is the Grimoire Synergy, which is kind of almost like a lore-based change to the Grimoire tree for warlocks. And it's a swap out for Grimoire Sacrifice, specifically for demonology warlocks. And to me, I find it kind of cool. It kind of makes sense. Like, it felt very anti-thematic for demonology warlocks.
I agree that you sacrifice your demon.
Yeah.
It's all about demons, has it in the name.
Exactly. Like, this is the whole thing, and like there's a change there to just get rid of that. Like, I think that's really cool. Like, I would kind of love to see them doing that kind of thematic change for different specs to more other classes. Like, I was thinking of, you know, the different abilities that we've got for Shaman, which vary by spec, the Paladin ones. I'd love to see more of that, like particularly for pure DPS classes like Warlocks.
Yeah, I've noticed that a bit with rogues as well. There's always been some flavor how assassination rogues have daggers and combat rogues are, you know, in your face with axes, but there could be more things. Like, for example, Phantom Knives is what you get for assassination and subtlety now, and combat has Blade Flurry, but I just feel like combat needs something more in your face. It's not like a proactive, I'm going to AoE everything in range. It should be more, I don't know, I feel that the AoE should be in your face to match the non-subtle flavor of the spec.
Definitely, the desperately unsubtle rogue needs to be a little bit more unsubtle with their abilities. That would definitely be a really cool change. Like, one of the other things we've seen a lot of is toy box updates as well. We've seen a bunch of those. Like, Perk is the toy box expert. Basically, if you want to know what's in there, you've got to ask Perk. So I'm going to do exactly that. So what have we seen come and go? What's your thoughts on this?
So earlier this week, I wrote a large guide to the toy box, and I listed all the items by various sources, and then if you really want to know more about them, you can toggle and view all the sources and how you get them and their descriptions. And there were about maybe 110 items in that build. And it was a lot of teleport items, there were some trading card items, but not all, there were some holiday items, and in this recent build, what Blizzard did is they got rid of all the teleport items, so you can't use your Dire Brew remote, you can't use your Argent Crusade tabard to port, and they added about maybe 60 new items in, and it's much more thorough now. There are a lot of all the trading card items, all the archaeology items, you know, a few more fishing items, some from world events. So basically, we've got 170 items now, and they cover all sorts of cool vanity items. Some people are still sad that not all of them are in, and I hope that a few more are in because there are some inconsistencies. But basically, you can just put all your vanity items in this special account-wide collection, and it frees up your bag space, and it's account-wide, and you don't have to worry about deleting cool items to do anything with bag space ever again.
Yeah, that's a really really huge change. Actually, it's just a matter of like not having to worry about the bag space, and also that means that for things like the collecting achievements on places like the Timeless Isle, that's now very much cross character, and you actually get the items too. Like it's not only is the achievement counted across your characters, you actually got access to all of those cool things.
Yeah,
like
that was something I was always really sad about. I had started working on a bigger bag again, and I collected items on alts, but I'm thinking to myself, oh gee, I wish I could use this cool disguise item on my character that fits the disguise better.
Yeah, exactly. Like I have the silly seashells and the things that change, like turn you into like a dancing lady in a bikini and a seashell, and I love that. I use it all the time on my one chamois that's got it, and it's not like it's hard to get. I'm just lazy, so I haven't gone back down and killed the clam again to get it on different characters. And I just like I'm really happy that I can use it, and I'm really happy that all the cool toys that like my mains that I've had for a really long time but don't play so much anymore are now transferable onto characters which I play a lot, just because you know I've got the access to the different things there, and I think that's a really cool change. So is there anything big perk that you think is still missing? What you said, there are some inconsistencies. What do you think they should be putting back in there or putting in there in the first place?
Well, the first one that comes to mind is fairly minor, but they added some of the cool jewel crafting laser beams, and they added some but not all. So I was confused why they didn't add the rest of them in. There's been some controversy whether some items with stacks should be put in there, like Path of Illidan or the flowers.
Right.
And they've said it wasn't possible, but the jewel crafting items that made it in do have stacks, so I'm curious how that's going to turn out.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yes, I was just thinking that when you were saying that about stacks, those little things stack up. So yeah, that would be interesting. I think a bunch of people were surprised by they removed the safari hat, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, although I did hear that you just click on it, and it gives you a buff. So you don't have to worry about equipping it, and then you're fighting a mob, and you're in this hat that doesn't do it.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's the difference there then. But obviously, like there is a huge toy box guide on Wowhead. Do go and check that out. It's in all our Warlords coverage, wowhead.com/warlords. Like all of the information that we're talking about in the show is all in there, so you can find it all. But like, there's definitely more to come to this. There's no way this is finished. There's no way this toy box has final content in it right now. So don't freak out if your one favorite thing isn't in there. Like it could be added at any time, so don't worry. The other thing we've seen is a bunch more updates to holiday stuff. So there's a bunch of the epics have had their item levels increase to 600. Is that right?
Yeah, and that's actually interesting speculation because even epics for the Brewfest boss are now 600.
Oh.
So people could go, oh, you know, do they want Warlords to be out? And then you could access higher Brewfest. But on the other hand, Blizzard has put items in that we don't see for you know, patches later. So I'm not sure what's going on with that, but you know, it looks like they've just 600 is the level for all of the epics in Warlords, and that's not super exciting on its own, but there's a ton of vanity items which I'm more excited about.
Yeah, definitely. So speaking of the epics, like we did this with Mr. Pandaria. Do you remember that around Mr. Pandaria, like Wowhead data mined all of the updated epics for the for Halloween, for Hallow's End, and we were all sort of like, oh, it's going to release, and then it did. So maybe maybe this means that we're getting close to the point where we're going to get a release date, and then it's going to be in time. Oh man, I'd be so happy. Like it kind of has to be, I feel, because BlizzCon is just around the corner after Hallow's End. And if they didn't have it done by then, there would be something kind of crazy going on, I think.
I think Mr. Pandaria actually launched in the middle of Brewfest, and they said that max level characters couldn't... You had to be max level to fight the boss.
That's right.
And they changed that, so if you weren't max level, you could still participate.
Yeah, no, sorry, you're absolutely right with Brewfest.
Maybe something like that will happen.
Maybe, or maybe we just won't get them until next time around, which would be kind of sad.
Yeah.
So do you think, having done a ton of the data mining, like with all the items, do you think 600 is high enough?
I mean, a lot of the items are shifting in values. We've guides to this, but basically one item can have like 5 different variations on it now. So maybe we'll see some additional item data added where they'll be boosted up in level. But right now it looks like some dungeon gear is 630, so 600 seems a little low. If running a dungeon is 630 at 100, but I guess we'll see. A lot of the data changes every patch, so maybe this will too. Yeah,
definitely. It's highly possible that they'll increase the item level. So talking about the vanity items, are there new vanity items that have gone in?
Yeah, that's the really exciting part. So we found different battle pets for various holidays, like Love is in the Air. Noble Garden gets a bouquet that you can summon. There's a bush chicken model. There's a little pink shore strider mount that matches mount pet that matches a mount you already get from Love is in the Air. And there's also achievements. So it looks like Day of the Dead is getting fleshed out to where you put on these contender disguises with all sorts of goofy names, and you then have to fight contenders and you get various achievements for beating contenders. So I'm really excited to see that.
Yeah, that sounds so cool.
It was really neat how the marionette finally became a battle pet last year, and I think that the holiday has a lot of potential with sort of the art and the creepy graveyard and the flowers, and I'd like to see that expand into, you know, a cool, more robust event.
Definitely. That's like Day of the Dead is always one of those like, particularly as someone from Europe, we don't celebrate that so much, but it's such an exciting, cool holiday with so much cool folklore and story around it. And I'm definitely really excited to see that expanded. A couple of other things
of Hollow's End, the Arthas disguise. A lot of people have really been excited by that.
Yeah.
It's you can turn into Arthas, and it only has 50 charges, so it has to be, you know, I guess you can't be Arthas forever, but a lot of people have left really hilarious comments on the Wowhead page for this disguise item. Just, you know, making comments like, oh, I could use the Death Knight talent to file with this disguise, and it would be
that would be so cool. And you could get like the little Valkyr pet and use to file with the disguise. That would be amazing. That would be so much fun. A couple of other notable things from the build that we've seen. One of the things that really caught my eye is the Tree Assassin's Guide, which from the tooltip, like, we don't seem to have a 3D model on that yet. We'll certainly find it in game and try and get pictures of that for you, screenshots for the guides and everything. But it sounds like it transforms you into a stationary tree. And the reason which I find this exciting is in Shadow Moon Valley, and I've seen them in Gorgrond as well, I think, and also in Talador, definitely in Talador, not so sure about Gorgrond. But there are these tree models called the Draenor Ancient, and part of what they do, they stand still, sort of like with their arms up, and just sort of turn into a stationary tree. And I, having read the description on this Tree Assassin's Guide, which makes you remain stationary, but you turn into a tree, and I'm so excited that it might be turning you into a Draenor Ancient, because I love those models so much. They look like adorable, grumpy old men, and I just
they look like the Night Elf Tree Ancients, but
angrier. Yes, like angrier, like stompy. Yeah, exactly, like these stoically, like grumpy, stompy guys. And I'm just so excited. If it turns you into a Draenor Ancient, oh my god, I'm just gonna like leave my characters logged out being trees in places. I'm so excited for that one. And we saw a bunch of new mounts as well. Like it's a bit different from what we've seen before. There's a lot of placeholders, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of placeholders, but there's a lot of Elix and Klepshoofs in different colors. So
cool.
I hope some of those seem like they could make it to live. But yeah, I'm very curious to see if the 50 mount placeholders we data mined will turn into real awesome mounts in the future. We haven't seen a lot of mounts yet, although we have seen the mount journal get updates with really cool flavor text under each entry.
Definitely, yeah. Is it normal that we have placeholder mounts? Like, is that a normal thing that we see with data mining?
I mean, sometimes, like, we see it more often with items where they'll just have a bunch of loot called, like, 6.0 PH, Agi, Trinket 1, and then a few builds later it's like, Trinket of Awesome from this boss, you know, with a better name.
Yeah.
Not so much with spells, but I mean, if they're trying to get stuff out and play with tech things, I can see why they did a cut and paste on that.
Definitely, yeah. So we'll look forward to seeing those. And obviously, as soon as anything does happen with those, we'll keep you updated. So keep an eye on the website. So moving on, one of the things we do every week is give you a little update with what's going on Wowhead. And this week is no exception. So we've got a bunch of beta key information for you. So we've got our usual beta key giveaway going on. Pert, remind me what we're asking people to do this week.
So because we want you to celebrate Curse of Naxxramas, we want you to either complete the Hearthstone achievement, or complete a wing of Naxxramas in game. It can be, you know, 10 player, 25 player, Arachnid Quarter, you know, Saffron, just, you know, go out there and clear a wing. And you can do the wing or Hearthstone. It doesn't have to be both.
Yeah, so the Hearthstone achievement is got by winning. Is winning 3 games in play mode in Hearthstone, or is it just completing? Yeah. It is winning. So you do that, and then you go into WoW after you've done that, and you'll get a mount on your account, and also the Hearthstone achievement. So it'll give you the Hearthsteed mount. And obviously, if you've got this on your character already, then you don't need to go like somehow magically redo it. It's already registered on your character that's registered and verified on our profiler. And that's where we've got to a bit of a hiccup this week, right? So something's gone wrong on Blizzard's end with the it's really sad. We hate it when people can't enter our contests, particularly when there's nothing we can do about it because it's an error on Blizzard's end. So what exactly is going on what's the actual problem here?
So we had all this extended maintenance on Tuesday, and then what happened is the armory just stopped updating.
That's good.
And it still isn't really updating except for a few realms. So basically, if you log off, if you get a new piece of gear, if you've equipped it, your armory won't show any of these changes. And to verify your character on Wowhead, you need to take certain armor pieces off and then refresh the armory, refresh Wowhead, and you're set. So the armory is blocking us right now, and that's really sad.
That is really sad. So it's not for every realm, though, right? It's for some realms. It's not all realms that have got this problem. So you might, don't let this put you off. You may well be on one of the realms that's unaffected, and the only way to find out if you're affected, unfortunately, is to try. We'd love to tell you exactly which realms are I believe your realm's affected?
Yeah, my realm's affected, although if you have previously verified a character and you have the achievements from a past giveaway, then you should be able just to enter the contest. So in that case, being an early contributor.
Early adopter of the contest is a good thing for this week, unfortunately. Much as we wish that it wasn't the case, it's a bit difficult for people on certain realms to register new characters or to complete the achievements that we're asking you to do to enter the contest. So because we hate it when you guys can't win beta keys from us, what we've decided to do is Perk and I have previously done Twitter beta key giveaways. So we're going to do another one so that all you people who are currently unable to enter the contest, and we're really hoping that Blizzard are going to fix this soon as well, by the way.
We've been emailing them.
We haven't just sat around and gone, oh no, gosh, what are we going to do? We've emailed them a ton. We've been pestering them every day to try and get this sorted out. They've managed to fix it for, I believe, 16 of the affected realms.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, so there's actually steps being taken, and there is a solution. It's just a matter of them getting it applied to all the realms. So don't worry, we're doing our best to get you in to our competition so that you can win a beta key. But in the meantime, we thought we'd do another Twitter one. So this week we are going to be asking you, what is our favorite, so let me just state that again for clarity, because that was confusing last week. What is our favorite, my favorite, Perk's favorite, let's go that the wrong way, 5-man dungeons. So if you watch the previous show, you're going to have a little bit of a head start on, you might know already where to go to find this out. So we've got this information on our Wowhead user profiles. So what you need to do is navigate to the Wowhead user profiles, and we're not going to make it super easy for you by telling you precisely where to go, but suffice it to say that there are often something like wowhead.com/user equals, and then a name, which might correspond to our Twitter names, potentially. You should just, consider that when you're looking for them. And on there, it may or may not state which our favourite 5-man instances are. So once you've done that, you need to tweet at us with the link on Wowhead for the zone. It'll be zone, which the 5-man instance is. So say, for example, for some reason, mine is Ragefire Chasm. You need to find the actual link for that zone and tweet at me with that and the hashtag Olivia Beta Giveaway. And for Perk, and hers for some reason is, what should we have Perks be? Perks is Blackrock Caverns.
Elves in it.
It has elves in it. Oh, that doesn't surprise you, actually. Perk loves elves. So you'd have to find that on Wowhead and tweet at Perk. And again, the user Twitter names are above and below our screens. And you have to tweet at Perk with Perk Beta Giveaway and the link to the Wowhead zone for her favourite 5-man dungeon. And what you'll do then is we'll enter you into a draw. We'll be drawing random people using the hashtags. So make sure you use the hashtags. If you don't use the hashtags, you can do everything else right, but we can't actually select randomly with just tweets at us. So we have to have a way to filter them, and we're using hashtags for that. So then do that, and we will select people from that list to win a beta key. Simple as that. So if you're unable to get into the Wowhead competition, we're really sorry, we're working on it, and in the meantime, enter the Twitter beta giveaway. Moving on, we've also had a really, really exciting thing on our sister site, Hearthhead. Now, Perk, I know you've been dealing with this a ton, so tell us what exactly happened this week on Hearthhead.
So Curse of Naxxramas launched, and that means it was, mass data mining time and feature development time for Hearthhead, which covers everything you want to know about Hearthstone. And it was pretty interesting because for WoW, we get our data in advance, the way Blizzard handles the data, but for Hearthstone, we only were able to update the site pretty much like literally when the expansion launched. So we were both frantically working to get all the new cards up on the site and as users are wanting to use them for the first time. So it's been pretty hectic, but we have tons of awesome unique things up, like we have golden animated cards up for all the collectible cards. We have a hub up for all the adventures, all the regular and heroic bosses. We even have a page with the class challenges, which exposes what boss you were faced against to get a certain card which wasn't previously announced. So we have tons of cool things. Even we have sounds for all the bosses, their emotes. So a ton of really awesome things, whether you're just, casually playing and just want to get that card back or unlock a wing, to if you really want to have in-depth strats to beating a heroic boss and just want to filter, to beat like heroic Mixna. So lots of cool things there. We've got strats up, we've got guides, we've got all sorts of updated cool data that's constantly coming in, and site's really awesome. The Wowhead team's been also working on that same high level of quality with awesome data and user-friendly tools.
Yeah, absolutely. And really do check out, if you're even a little bit into Hearthstone, check out Hearthhead, because there's so much useful stuff on there. There's so much useful information. But we absolutely haven't forgotten about Wowhead. Of course, we haven't forgotten about Wowhead. You've seen a ton of posts this week. There's so much information gone up on Wowhead. So much data on Wowhead this week. So we've had the builds, we've got the new model stuff, we've had a ton of posts. Check out the front page, and it's all there. And we've also added a ton of the mount flavor text, which Perk mentioned earlier, to the specific mount pages. Is that right?
Yeah, that was at the start of the week. It launched right when Nax did, so that was sort of buried in announcements. But it's really cool. There's really cool flavor text on all the mounts. It's just really fun to browse.
Yeah, definitely. And we've also, this week, we've introduced the new Wowhead rep rewards. So with Wowhead, obviously, you know that you get reputation. I think Perk has like 2 million or something crazy like that. The best way to get that is to get comments on which are upvoted. So if you go onto a new, like if you found something in Warlords and you go onto an item, or you go into something existing and make a really useful comment, a bunch of people are going to upvote that, and then your reputation is going to increase. So, or you write an awesome guide. There's a tons of what are other ways to get reps?
Screenshots are really cool too. Pictures are worth 1,000 words, and take pictures of your garrison or battle pets or cool armor you're getting, and that's worth a decent amount of rep as well. So